Did you know that many seniors in the United States are still paying rent every single month without realizing they could be living almost for free? It's shocking but true. Thousands of elderly people are quietly draining their savings or giving up basic comforts just to keep a roof over their heads. Meanwhile, there is a government program that could give them housing for a fraction of the cost, or even for nothing at all. And yet, most of them have never even heard of it. It's like having a key to freedom, but never being told where the door is. Now, imagine this. You spend your entire life working hard, raising a family, paying your taxes, doing everything society expects of you. Then you retire, expecting a bit of peace, maybe some rest. But instead, you're stuck living paycheck to paycheck, watching your limited income vanish into rent, bills, and medications. Every morning feels like a countdown to the next worry. What if I told you it doesn't have to be this way? What if there's a forgotten path, hidden in plain sight, that could completely transform the way seniors live across America? This isn't a dream, it's a real solution, backed by federal law, created to honor and support those who built this country. It's the kind of secret that, when revealed, feels almost too good to be true. But it isn't. In fact, it's one of the most compassionate policies out there, designed to ensure that no elderly person has to choose between paying rent and buying food, between keeping their home and filling a prescription. And yet here we are, in a world where so many are struggling simply because no one told them the truth. That's why this video exists, not just to inform, but to awaken, to spark action. To say to every son, daughter, caregiver, and senior out there, there is help, there is hope, and it's closer than you think. So, if you've ever worried about the future, if you've ever watched a loved one age with fear in their eyes, or if you're simply tired of seeing good people suffer in silence, then stay with me, because what I'm about to show you could change everything. And at the end of this journey, you won't just have information, you'll have power. The power to protect those you love. The power to bring peace back into a home that's been living under the weight of rent. The power to say, enough is enough, and finally do something about it. Asterisk, now take a moment to truly feel the reality behind this situation. Imagine being 80 years old, waking up every morning in a small apartment where the heater barely works and the rent goes up every year. You open the fridge and it's almost empty because most of your check went to the landlord again. You count your pills carefully, wondering if you can afford to refill them next week. You sit by the window, not because you're enjoying the view, but because you feel trapped, wondering how long you can keep this up. This is not a rare story. This is the daily reality for millions of seniors in the United States. People who should be resting, who should be surrounded by comfort, who deserve to feel safe and respected, instead are anxious, isolated, and stretched thin. Some don't speak up out of pride. Others simply don't know there's another way. But the pain is real, and it runs deep. It's not just about money, it's about dignity. It's about the silent fear of becoming a burden to your family, about the shame of asking for help again, about the quiet tears shed when no one's watching, because you've worked all your life and still feel like you're losing ground. Every phone call from the landlord feels like a threat. Every visit to the mailbox brings more bills and more stress. And when rent eats up over half your income, there's nothing left for joy, nothing left for health, nothing left for peace. Your world becomes smaller every month, and your dreams fade into worries. This kind of pressure is heavy, like carrying a stone on your chest day after day. And the worst part is feeling like no one sees it, like you're invisible to the system that's supposed to protect you. But you are not invisible. Not here, not now. This video is shining a light on a hidden pain that needs to be talked about, because ignoring it won't make it go away. And silence only helps the problem grow louder inside. So, if you've ever seen an older person at the grocery store, hesitating before picking up a loaf of bread, or quietly putting something back on the shelf because they're counting pennies, that's what we're talking about here. If you've seen a grandparent downplay their needs or hide their worries behind a smile, that's the pain we're exposing today. It's time to name it. To look it in the eye and say, this isn't right, not in a country with resources, not when there are solutions ready to be used. It starts with understanding the struggle in its raw truth. Because only then can we move toward something better. But what if things could be different? What if that heavy feeling in the chest could be lifted? If the endless counting of coins and sacrifices could be replaced with relief and dignity, there is something quietly powerful happening across the country. A solution that already exists. One that doesn't require luck or connections. Just information and the courage to ask for what is already yours. It's not a miracle, it's a right. And it's been there all along, hidden beneath layers of bureaucracy and silence. There are programs in place right now designed to take the weight off seniors who are struggling with housing and basic needs. Real support, not just promises. Programs that say, we see you, we value you, and you deserve better, especially after a lifetime of contribution. These aren't favors, these are hard-earned protections. So imagine this. Instead of waking up with dread, you wake up knowing your rent is affordable. Instead of wondering what bill to pay first, you're planning how to enjoy your day. Maybe even saving a little. Maybe inviting your grandchild over for dinner without worrying about groceries. Because the truth is, the system does have a safety net for seniors. But it's only helpful if people know it exists and how to reach it. That's where the shift begins. Not with more effort from the elderly, but with clearer guidance. With someone finally saying, here, this is for you. This is not a dream, and it's not complicated. It's a structured way to help people live better through housing support, community services, and financial relief. It starts with a phone, call, or a visit to a website, and it can lead to the kind of stability most seniors thought was out of reach. There is real hope, backed by real programs, and it's time for this hope to be shared widely, loudly, and with love. Because no one should feel alone in their final chapters of life. No one should carry silent shame for being poor in old age, and no one should be kept in the dark about a path to peace. When hope appears, even in small ways, it changes everything. The way a person holds their shoulders, the way they breathe, the way they smile again. That's the power of knowing there's help, and that it's within reach. This is where the story begins to turn, where pain meets possibility, and fear meets freedom. And the most beautiful part is that this isn't only about surviving. It's about living. Living with less weight, more confidence, and the quiet joy of knowing that tomorrow might just be okay. The answer lies in a program that most people have never heard of, yet it has the power to completely transform the life of a senior who is barely making ends meet. It's called Section 202, Supportive Housing for the Elderly, and it's one of the most quietly powerful initiatives created by the federal government of the United States. Its goal is simple and deeply human: to provide affordable housing for seniors aged 62 and older who have low income. But it's more than just a place to live. It offers independence, dignity, and support, all in one. Through this program, seniors can live in homes where the rent is adjusted to fit their income, often capped at just 30% of what they earn. That means if someone receives $1,000 a month in Social Security, they might only need to pay $300 for rent, sometimes even less, depending on the situation. That alone can change everything. But Section 202 goes further than money. It creates housing communities specifically designed for older adults, places that are safe, well-maintained, and connected to helpful services. These communities often offer transportation options, community events, and even on-site staff to assist with daily tasks when needed. Imagine living in a space where your needs are not only acknowledged, but anticipated, where the design of the building makes life easier, where you're not just a tenant, but a respected member of a community. There's something quietly beautiful about that, the idea that aging does not have to mean isolation or fear, but instead can mean support and connection. That's the gift this program offers. And yet, many seniors have no idea it exists. They've never been told they qualify. They've never heard of the forms, or the housing lists, or the local agencies that can guide them. And that silence is costing them peace, comfort, and often their health. But now you know, and that knowledge is powerful. It's the kind of discovery that can turn a quiet struggle into a hopeful step forward. It's like finding an open door after years of walking in circles, and all it takes to begin is awareness, the willingness to look into it, and the belief that yes, this is for you, not someone else, not some lucky few, but you. If you or someone you love meets the age and income requirements, then this program is available, and it could be the lifeline you've been waiting for. This isn't charity, it's a structure built with care for those who gave so much already. It's a reminder that the system can work, if we know how to use it. So let this be your invitation to discover what was hidden and claim what is rightfully yours. Asterisk. Now that you know this life-changing program exists, the next question is, how do you actually use it? The steps are not complicated, but they do require attention and patience, and every move brings you closer to relief. The first step is checking. Eligibility: you must be at least 62 years old and considered low income based on the area you live in. This means your income needs to fall below a certain limit, which varies depending on the city or state. Next, you'll want to locate available Section 202 properties near you. The easiest way is to visit the official HUD website, where they have a searchable map of approved properties. You can also call your local housing authority and ask directly about Section 202. Locations or supportive senior housing options. Once you find one or more properties that interest you, contact them and request an application. Some may allow online applications, while others will mail you a paper version. When you receive the form, fill it out carefully. You'll need to provide documents like proof of age, proof of income, and details about your living situation. This might include a Social Security award letter, recent bank statements, or a pension summary. If you need help filling anything out, many housing offices have people who can guide you through the process. Step by step, patient and kind. Once submitted, your application will be reviewed, and if you meet the qualifications, you will be added to a waiting list. Now this is important. In many areas, the demand is higher than the available apartments, so you might have to wait weeks or even months. But do not let that stop you. The peace of mind that comes when you're finally accepted is worth every moment of patience. While you wait, it's okay to follow up occasionally to see where you are on the list, and to apply to more than one property at the same time. That increases your chances and gives you more options. When you are approved and offered a unit, your rent will be calculated based on your income, typically 30% or less. Means you can finally stop worrying about rent swallowing up your money, and instead focus on your health, your family, and your happiness. There is also the possibility of accessing additional support, like help with transportation, grocery delivery, or wellness checks, depending on the property. So this isn't just about housing. It's about creating a safer, more supported life. This is your path forward, and each step you take makes it more real. You are not asking for a favor. You are stepping into a right that exists to honor your journey. And with each form, each phone call, and each email, you are getting closer to something you absolutely deserve. A place to breathe, a place to rest, a place to finally feel home. Now picture this: a woman in her late 70s, sitting at a small kitchen table, the morning sunlight gently touching her face. For years, she woke up with a tight chest, wondering how to pay the rent and still afford her medication. She had stopped buying fresh fruits, skipped doctor appointments, and said no to simple joys like a visit from her granddaughter because she couldn't offer even a warm meal. But today is different. She pours her coffee with calm, not with worry. The envelope on the table is not a bill. Her rent has dropped from $700 to just $250. She walks into her new apartment, and it smells clean and safe. There are handrails in the hallway, friendly neighbors smiling in the courtyard, and a sense of community she hasn't felt in years. The fear that used to sit silently in her chest has been replaced by something new. Peace. She now has money. Left over at the end of the month, not much, but enough for fruit. Maybe a gift for her granddaughter. Maybe a bus ride to visit her sister for the first time in years. It's not just about the money, it's about the dignity, about waking up without fear and going to sleep without shame. This is the quiet revolution happening behind closed doors across the country. Seniors who were invisible now feel seen. People who were anxious now feel stable. Lives that were shrinking now open up again. One phone call, one application, one brave step changed everything. That is the emotional truth behind this benefit. It's not just numbers on paper. It's about restoring what was lost. The confidence, the safety, the self-respect. It's about looking in the mirror and seeing not just someone who survived, but someone who matters deeply. Someone who is still full of value, full of stories, full of strength. That moment when the letter arrives, when the keys are handed over, when the new chapter begins, that is the reward after the long road. That is when the tears flow, but for a new reason: joy. This is what every senior deserves, and it is absolutely possible. It's not far away, and it's not just for others. It could be your story, or the story of someone you love. All it takes is one choice: to believe that better is not just a dream, but a real future waiting quietly for someone to reach for it. So now that you know the truth, what will you do with it? Maybe this message touched your heart because you saw your mother in that story, or your grandfather, or maybe it felt like a mirror. A quiet part of you whispering, "Yes, this is me." If that's the case, then this is more than just information. This is a call to act. Not later, now. Because every day someone continues to suffer in silence simply because no one told them their life could be different. And that silence must end with us. We cannot change the past, but we can shape what comes next. The most powerful changes often begin with a whisper, a gentle shift in awareness, a decision to care. And that's what this moment is: a turning point. A choice between letting this be just another video or allowing it to become the start of something real. Imagine if everyone who watched this shared it with one person who needed it. Imagine if every family sat down with their elder and asked the simple question, "Are you getting the help you deserve?" That vision begins right here, with you. So here's what you can do. First, share this message with someone who needs it: a friend, a neighbor, a family member, someone who might not even know help exists. Second, comment below with this powerful commitment: "I choose dignity." Those 3 words are not just a phrase, they're a promise. A promise to speak up, to care, to refuse to let good people suffer in the dark. Third, like this video and subscribe, because this is just the beginning. There are many more hidden rights, more forgotten programs, more lives that can be lifted with a few simple steps. But it starts with awareness. It starts with you. The truth is, we live in a world where kindness still matters, where empathy still heals, where one video can plant a seed that blossoms into peace. This might be just another day on the calendar, but for someone out there, this is the day everything changed. And that someone could be you, or the one you love, or the neighbor down the street who always smiles but never says much. Don't let this be just a passing story. Let it be a spark, a ripple, a change. Because every elder deserves more than just survival. They deserve safety, support, respect. Home, say it with me in the comments: "I choose dignity." And let that be the beginning of a movement. One that brings light where there was darkness and hope where there was fear. This is how we honor those who came before us. With truth, with action, with love.